Hey everyone, it's Nikki
and Kate,
and we are here at CES. It's your first year.
It is.
So welcome to Las Vegas.
It's a wonderful city.
I think you are going to be absolutely exhausted by the end of the day. Hey, what time is it now? It is, it's 1 o'clock. We've just arrived. Our first thing is at 3. We've got the Byton, this is our schedule. We've got the Byton
reveal.
Byton reveal, and there really isn't much we know about Byton other than the fact that it is a car company.
And it is a connected vehicle, connected to the internet.
We've seen some teasers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Then we're off to, there's a Q&A, which we're going to go to for Byton. So hopefully we'll find out some more information about that. And then after that, we're going to NVIDIA. Why are we going to a graphics chip manufacturer when we cover cars and clean vehicle tech?
Well, that seems like a really odd thing to do. Why don't you explain?
So NVIDIA obviously makes graphics chips, which are great also. The same type of processing. Parallel processing units are very good as well for autonomous vehicles. And NVIDIA's been in the autonomous vehicle market for some time now, not as somebody who provides technology to the end user, but what we call a tier 1 part supplier. We'll be back later on with a bit of a roundup as to what we've got done and what we've seen, and stay right there. So Kate, Byton, to Byton.
To Byton?
To go for a Byton? Is it a noun, a verb, an adjective, or all of the above?
I think it is all three. It's also part of your house and where you live.
Yes, and that's the whole idea about Byton. It wasn't really referred to much as a car, more as an appliance, a smart home, an extension. I mean, the whole thing, they started off with this, we are going to extend your home. They played this infographic saying, you waste 2.8 billion hours in a year in a car. Not you personally, but us collectively as a society.
Yeah, I mean, one individual is not wasting 2.8 billion hours.
No, that's the thing. Very light on specs, massive touchscreen, center, steering wheel, touchscreen in the middle of the steering wheel, which seems a little bit...
I'm intrigued as to how that works when you're steering, or whether it just disappears.
I mean, the airbag...
Through the touch screen?
I mean, that could be expensive and or painful, but okay. This is a car company that seriously wants us to take it seriously.
And a lot of reassurance about all their business partners, everyone they're working with.
All the things they've done in the past, which I think is just a way of Byton doing some due diligence to make sure that we don't perceive it as the next Faraday future.
Yeah.
Talking about production, there is already a factory in China being built right now for this vehicle, which will go into production in 2019. Yeah. Byton was very keen to talk about this being a concept car, and I've got to hand it to them. This is a much smoother, more refined, more polished presentation than I think we saw with Faraday Future last year, which was frankly...
A shambles?
A shambles. I thought you were going to use another word beginning with S and then another S word after it. It's actually a nicely designed car. You whispered to me during that it looks a bit like a bigger BMW i3.
Yeah.
A little bit of Faraday Future in there. Buttloads of tech, LiDAR, radar, sensors all
everywhere.
Of that. And we didn't go into the full technicalities of it, though. It was just alluded to, right?
And there's a lot of discussion with them about being able to upgrade the sensors later,
which I thought was the most important, exciting thing about this whole vehicle.
Yeah.
Not that there were all these other things that Byton wants to do in the future, but that this is a car that Byton says it will be able to upgrade for you. I mean, I think that
you'll be able to trade yourself
saying
up.
That.
Yeah.
But it sort of implied that everything in the car can be removed and upgraded modular style, which is very German.
It is
actually. It's very German. And there's some emphasis on open source, open platform, the operating system, Byton Life, which is like a lifestyle web portal for you to be able to follow your car. Amazon Alexa is going to be very, very heavily integrated into this car.
A lot of Amazon Alexa.
We're looking at next generation CCS, I think I'm going to call that, and say it's CCS 350 kilowatts. No mention of a Tesla-like supercharger network.
No.
But the final thing, $45,000 starting price. Byton calls this affordable.
That is not an affordable vehicle.
I mean,
That is not.
am I wrong here? It's not affordable, is it?
No. I mean, I'm interested to see what they do with the platform, though.
Yes, it's going to be a modular car. There's going to be other platforms that go with it, but $45,000 is not.
It's just not.
Full stop.
No.
It's not. So, where are we off to next? We're going to go and
Q&A, and then
Q&A, and then we're off to tech trends and a couple of other things.
Yep.
So, over to us in the future. So rather than going to CES Unveiled,
we skipped that.
we skipped that and we went to the Byton Q&A.
Yeah.
What did we learn from the Byton Q&A that we didn't already know?
So there's some interesting stuff about the way the software is going to work in the vehicle and whether they're going to be doing open source or some kind of semi-open kind of walled garden for apps.
Off the basis of that, what I got from the founders is that they've got this very principled, noble idea of what a car should be and a very principled, noble idea of what a electric car should be. I don't know if they're going to follow through with that, but they do want open source. But they're going to block off part of the car, which makes sense. Block off the systems that could damage the car or cause the car to crash. So that's a good thing.
And there was a lot of hedging around, we want this to be a vehicle that everyone can access, that can be really open, and then also that kind of discussion about, well, yes, we have looked at that a bit in terms of we can make money long term of selling apps and access, and how does that fit together? It's a really complex
I mean, you
mesh.
asked the question, at $45,000, how are you going to make money from this car? Because Byton is like, hey, we want to make this car upgradable.
Yeah.
We want to sell you this car, and then in 3 years' time, when we come out with new fancy features like level 5 or level 4 autonomy, you can buy an upgrade package, and we'll take the car in and we'll upgrade just the sensors, which is very different to what Tesla's done. Because Tesla's like, you have the autopilot sensors that the car shipped with.
Yeah.
If your
you
car
want a
doesn't
new one?
have them,
buy a
then
new car.
you don't have. Well, if you don't have the sensors, you can't have them. If you want a newer system, buy a new car.
Yeah.
And that's how Tesla is making money. Tesla is making a lot of money from upselling existing customers to the next model.
Which is a really traditional model.
Which is a traditional automotive model. But you asked them how they were going to make their money, and they were a bit fuzzy on that, right?
Yeah, I mean, they basically said that their traditional automotive model would carry them to break-even point, which, if you're selling this complex a vehicle at $45,000 a pop,
I want to know where the money's from.
I mean, the technology in it is pretty, if it works, it's pretty impressive and going to be expensive.
Let's talk the factory in China.
Yeah.
It's already being constructed.
It is.
Byton says it needs $1 billion to get that all set up and running. So far, 310 million, which isn't a lot.
No.
And they've closed their A round. They are working on their B round of funding.
Yeah.
Really small staff right now, right?
Yeah.
Can you remember the number?
I think he said under 1,000.
Under 1,000 people working at the company. It has come out of stealth. And I asked the $1 million question, which is, how do you make sure that you're not another Faraday Future? I didn't say Faraday Future because I'm too good. I think Byton is a very earnest company.
Yes.
In a way that Faraday Future was not. Faraday Future was like, hey, look at our car. It's great. Look at all the things it can do. It's brilliant. I don't get that from Byton. It's much more, maybe it's because we're European and a lot of the people on the team are German, and we're kind of like very stoic.
Stayed very
measured.
like, this is what we intend to do.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This is the end of CES Day 1.
Yes, not
You survived.
The end of CES.
And we are currently at the MGM. We have just sat through what I think is probably the second longest press event that I've done a 2.5 before, but this was nearly 2 hours from NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's fair to say that you and I are both nerds.
I think that might be something you could say.
And NVIDIA announced a whole slew of cool things, gaming and machine learning, and then cumulated with what turned out to be nearly an hour on autonomous vehicles.
Yes, it was quite impressive.
So let's just
actually.
give you some stats. 320 partners now working with NVIDIA on autonomous vehicles.
More than 320.
More than 320. That includes car makers, universities, software companies, etc., etc.
And not just cars, also
Trucks.
or lorries, depending
The
on where you are.
transportation world is the biggest industry in the world, according to NVIDIA. Basically, they want in on it. NVIDIA wants in on it.
They are diversifying in a fairly spectacular way, but not diversifying what they do, just the applications of what they do.
Yeah, they're basically using, NVIDIA is pushing, I mean, this is not necessarily a secret, but what is incredible is a brand new chipset from NVIDIA specifically for automotive vehicles. It is incredible. The Drive Xavier,
Yeah, and that's
which
it.
I think is an amazing name.
Yes.
It is the largest SoC ever made. Now, for those who don't know what SoC is,
System on a chip.
system on a chip, and it is the largest system on a chip ever made.
I mean, when you start to look at how rapidly this has scaled in terms of just sheer power, it is frankly astonishing.
8,000 years worth of development.
Mainly achieved through deep learning.
So we're at a point now where the computer technology has got so good. Artificial intelligence is designing artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah, okay, it's time for us to leave now.
We
Because
are.
we are cooked.
We are cooked. But safety systems, incredible augmented reality systems.
Incredible vision analysis. So vision systems with binocular vision and being able to manage that.
This NVIDIA Drive Xavier
Yeah.
is going to be used in level 3 and level 4 cars.
Yes.
So level 3 is what we're currently seeing, like with Tesla, that's level 3. Level 4 is drives on its own most of the time.
Yeah.
And then for level 5,
We have-
robo-taxis.
We have NVIDIA Drive Pegasus.
That's 2 Xaviers,
Yeah.
and that's full level 5 autonomy.
It is, and they're already partnering with people to do
This
that.
is the crazy thing. 400 watts.
Yeah.
Pegasus
Yeah.
uses 400 watts.
I know. It's just freaky small.
That's 2 electric bicycles worth of power.
Yes.
Not even.
Not even.
400 watts is
That's
less
like
than your
4
PC
old
uses.
light bulbs. My media server is 500 watts.
Yes, and the power consumption for the server that we're using to store all this data on from today is 750 watts.
Yeah.
So it uses more energy for me to keep the video files from this very day on my server
Than it does
than
for
it would
their
be for
system.
the car to drive itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's quite a substantial leap in technology.
Yeah, it is.
It
And
is.
we're talking billions of transistors.
9 billion
9 billion transistors on Xavier.
on Xavier.
So that's
18.
billion transistors. And the augmented reality, the AR, the training of the AR is incredible.
Well,
And
it's a really integrated package. It's very clever what they've done because they've pulled all the threads back in from, yes, you need to do this stuff to be able to drive the car. You have to be able to examine what's going on in the road around you and you need context. And then you say, well, but then the passengers in your autonomously driven vehicle, they want to know what's going on so that they're comfortable there. So we can show it to them by generating a virtual reality
using the dashboard.
using the dashboard.
So the dashboard then projects what it sees in the world around it and the hazards and things like that. And to demonstrate that, they did the most incredible thing. So in the real world, because NVIDIA has been testing autonomous vehicles in the world. And we should also mention that 8-mile no contact test drive. I mean, there really was so much.
8 miles with 23 junctions.
Junctions and so many stops.
Yeah.
And this vehicle, or now NVIDIA is testing its autonomous vehicles in the virtual reality.
Yeah.
But still at a point where it was collecting visual data from real-world autonomous driving cars.
Yeah.
Okay. So data from all those cameras. What it did was it took that information, fed it into a simulator inside, what did it call, the holodeck?
Yes.
That was quite a
nice touch.
Do you think perhaps somebody at NVIDIA is a fan of Sir Patrick?
It is a possibility.
Because we have the holodeck and we have Xavier.
Yes, that is true. That is a good point.
I am a fan of Sir Patrick, so I really
Everyone
don't...
is.
Yes. Although I don't think he would drink this. It would be tea Earl Grey hot. Anyway, we're going off on a... It's late at night. It's nearly 11 o'clock at night. We've been awake way too long.
Yes.
The NVIDIA setup
Yeah.
had a virtual holodeck playing real recorded footage from a real car.
Yeah.
And then inside that, they had a virtual Xavier system.
Yes. Which was then projecting
a virtual representation of an augmented reality dash onto the virtually simulated display of a Ferrari.
It kind of got a bit like, I am not sure how many layers of this onion I'm watching.
You know, Elon Musk has said that it's likely that we are living in a simulation.
Oh, has he?
So it's very likely that what we just saw was a simulation of a simulation inside of a simulation in which we are both simulations.
Are we simulations?
The thing that's not a simulation is our paychecks.
Oh, good. Okay.
But there we go. Anyway, that is it for today for CES. We've got another 5 days? 4
and a half.
4.5 days.
And I promise that we will get some sleep.
We will get some sleep. I'm going to get Brandon to come over and get his headphones off and come round because he's part of the team as well. Come on, Brandon, come round. Take your headphones off. They don't go that far. Hello.
This is Brandon.
This is the guy behind the camera. He's feeling better now. He was very white earlier on.
But he survived.
A little too excited.
A little too excited. So thank you, Brandon, for your sterling work. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
We will be back tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.